We'll now turn our attention to the final of the men's single sculls. Well, here's one of the main challengers, Václav Chalupa, 4 times world runner-up, 32 years of age, but retains his appetite really well. Switzerland, huge support for Zeno Müller, the 96 Olympic champion, himself 3 times a world runner-up. And in lane 5, Olaf Tufte, Olympic silver medalist in double sculls. Consistency this year has earned him the World Cup title. And here, closest to you in lane number 6, Slovenia's Itzhak Čop, the 1995 singles world champion, trying to regain that title. And as they go away, in lane number 1 on the far side of the regatta, Duncan Free from Queensland, winner this year of Henley Royal Regatta's Diamond Sculls. And next to him in lane 2, it's the Bulgarian Ivo Yanakiev. But we go off here down with Zeno Müller.
There's Zeno Müller. He's only appeared once at Princeton in the World Cup earlier in the year, where he went pretty well. But he's a fantastic competitor, and especially over the last 1,000 meters. That's how he won his gold medal in Atlanta. Great racer. But my goodness, did you see Čop go off the start there? That's the man I reckon to be the main man. Čop is such a tough competitor. Not a pretty sculler, but absolutely effective. He's been on the scene for a good decade, first as a rower in the pairs and then as a sculler. He won the World Championships in 1995, and here he is now just sitting there amongst the leaders. And it's this man that I would love to see win a championships. I'd just love to see Chalupa, after 10 years of trying to win a gold medal, always coming second or third. I'd just love to see him this time win it. But it looks really as if Switzerland's Müller has gone right out in front.
But going with him is Itzhak Čop. They're both the same age, Čop and Müller, 29 years of age. And, of course, Čop, Olympic champion in the double sculls with Lukas Spick, who's found himself a new partner. We'll be seeing them later on in the regatta. But Zeno, who doesn't like flying much, he, as you say, Dan, hasn't made too many international appearances, saves himself. And what a day it would be if he could win here in front of his own Swiss crowd.
Well, he lives in California now with his family, so he doesn't like to come over to Europe too much, but he's certainly been very popular through the week. He's not as fit as I've seen him before. He's looking a little bit thick around the middle, and I just wonder whether maybe he's going to be put under a lot of pressure from halfway on, because he's a terrific sculler, lovely mover. You see his boat just running through the water, beautiful sculling. And there we've got a good shot there of Chalupa from the Czech Republic. Bit of an arm catch, grabs it with his arms a little bit, but he's certainly powerful and sitting there just about level with Čop in second place.
Well, you mentioned a few moments ago, Dan, that Čop had a really good start. By contrast, the man who's next to him in lane 5, Olaf Tufte, did not. Now, Tufte's interesting because he was second with partner Fredrik Bekken for Norway to Itzhak Čop in Sydney in the double sculls. So maybe a little point to prove, but as a single sculler this year, he's done pretty little wrong, having won the World Cup.
Yeah, he's a lovely sculler. He's also a terrific finisher. That's what's very interesting. It's rather typical of Norwegian sculling. They do tend to come with a real rush in the last 1,000 meters or last 500 meters. He's sitting there. He's in a strong position. He's not doing too much there. You can see how hard Čop is working. He's moved into the lead, Čop. Not with that very distinctive style there, where he drives his leg. He's back on the backstop there before he really starts to move his back and his arms. He really drives the legs. But he's going to have a little bit of pressure there from Tufte, who has been going very well all season.
Coming to the half distance, and you can see it's Čop who's through there, ahead of Chalupa, then Tufte, who's come up, and Zeno's just dropped back a little bit. Wasn't a particularly good second quarter for the Swiss, but it was a good 500 for this man. But Dan, just for the moment, let's just take a look on the far side. Duncan Free and Yanakiev, they're really struggling. They're off the race pace. Difficult when you're away from the race pace.
Well, Yanakiev, I was expecting him to be moving a little bit faster. I'd have expected him to be up here with the leaders, but he is slipping off the group. Duncan Free moves well. He had a good race at Henley, and he's back there in the pack there. He's just making a little bit of move, and you can see that Müller is beginning to slip back. He's still fighting hard, but he's beginning to slip back a little bit as the pace quickens now in the third 500.
And here's our first real look at 25-year-old Olaf Tufte. And now moving very solidly into second place. Yanakiev disappearing. Duncan Free just beginning to perhaps close a little bit on Zeno Muller in fourth place. Interesting, just having a chat with him. He said he wants to be the best sculler for Australia since Stuart Mackenzie, or was it Sam Mackenzie?
Both. Sam with the initials, S.A. Mackenzie. But it was actually Stuart. But here's the guy who I would think is going to be pretty hard to pull back. But my goodness, look at these three go now. There's Chalupa beginning to make his move. And it's a very cool bit of sculling from Tufte, who's just moved now up almost level with Chop.
So just a little bit more than 500 metres to go. Zeno's got to get himself back into this race now as Tufte takes the advantage right on the line there, Dan. I reckon that Tufte just got the bow of his skull ahead there of the Slovenian Chop, but there's very little between them. Chalupa, as you said, is right on the premises, and this is now really turning out to be a classic fight. Three of them virtually in line, closest to you, Chop. Then two from the bottom of the picture. That's Olaf Tufte. Then Zeno Muller in third, slipping back. Third from the bottom of your picture, and on the far side, Chalupa is raising again.
Look at Chalupa go. Look, maybe this is his year. Maybe it's going to be a chance for Chalupa. He's really picked up, and he's longer and very powerful than the other two. He's very, very tough sculler, and maybe this is when he's going to make his big move and take the lead. But I fancy Tufte. Tufte's been sculling very, very effectively. Very effectively. His boat's running very nicely too, but it does look as if Chalupa is beginning to make he's beginning to move, just get his bows past the other two, and Chop hanging on.
Yeah, and Tufte very much the meat in the sandwich. He's got to keep his eyes left and right here to find out what's going on. At the moment, Chalupa on the far side still hasn't quite got to the front there. Tufte, as you suggested, Dan, now easing forward there, and it's Chop and Tufte almost stroke for stroke. The advantage slightly to Tufte. Chalupa's trying again on the far side. Chop has got to raise it again. Tufte now takes a definite advantage.
Chop's gone up now. Chop is over 40 strokes a minute, and he's fighting back. It's Tufte just on the edge there, but my goodness, look at Chop fight back. He never gets beaten on the line. He never gets beaten. But here it looks as if it's Tufte, and it's Tufte just by about 6 inches from Chop, with Chalupa again run out of the top medal, but so close this time.
And then finally coming through, Australia's Duncan Free and Yanakiev, but